Alrighty, I'm going to do a line, which is just simply this line here. It's 78 millimeters long, which 78 millimeters translates to the width of the whiteboard piece. And for our first cut, we're going to be running at 25 millimeters a second at 60% power. So we're just simply going to do a quick cut like that, and then I'll be able to reset and program from the controller panel as I change those settings. So that's what we're going to start with. I've already downloaded the file, so let's go take a look. Okay, we got the part loaded. Currently we are setting at 16 millimeters height. That would be for the nozzle. And let's load the file. So there we are. 25 and 60. And let's give it a first shot cut and see what happens. Well, we got a score on the front side, but not the back side, but we're almost completely through. So not bad for a first guess. I wasn't really sure how that white material on the surface was going to affect the beam. But there's our first cut. Let me make an adjustment and we'll do another one. There we go. Not quite a clean drop. So it looks like the melamine on the top is absorbing quite a bit of energy. I'm going to drop that speed down about 15, and that'll give us a place to start from. There we are, 15 and 60. Here we go. Well, that's kind of what I'd hoped for. That's a pretty nice drop right there. Little tiny bit of black on there. So I think to try and get rid of that black, I'm going to pick it up to about 23. Let's see, what would be a good one? Let's go, no, that was at 15. Let's go 19, just under 20. And then let's bump this up to 70%. Alright, let's try that one. Yeah, we didn't get our drop. We did get a complete cut through though. Oops, it just fell off in my hand there. So there's no burning on the surface at all. The surface looks really good. Backside doesn't have any ragged edges. Barely a hint of darkness on my finger. Well, actually that one's pretty clean. That must have been from the first cut. So yeah, we don't have any type of debris on there. Let's do one more cut just to verify. So this is 16 millimeters. Just barely, yep, I can just barely hear it. I've got just a tiny, tiny bit of air on there. Let's take this to let's drop it down to 18 millimeters per second at 70%. There you go. So I think that particular setting is pretty nice for that material. This is really nice looking stuff. I can see lots and lots of applications for this stuff. Let's do one more here and see how it turns out. I'd like to see a clean drop. So let's go to go to 16 at 70. Looks pretty square. Set the origin. Here we go. Looks like it likes that 60% at 15. Let's go the other direction and drop down to 50% at 12. Since we're not in a race to get it done quickly, let's just see how it works out. This is 12 millimeters per second, 60%. No, 50%, my bad. You can see we're going plumb through it. But we're looking for that clean drop there with a nice clean surface. And that's got a little bit of black on it. So there's a multiple number of different settings that we can get a good cut with. Now just so you got something here to look at. This is my chart. And this shows you exactly what kind of power level we're getting at 60%. If you run up here at 60, we're running about 65 to 66 watts at the tube. But if you go over here after the third mirror, which is the bottom one, we're looking at about 52 to 58 watts of actual energy being put on the part. So there's that much power loss between the tube outlet and the workpiece. And each of these graphs indicate power levels after the mirrors. So running at 60%, we're about 18 milliamps and just under 58 watts of power going into the part. So that looks like a pretty good test. I'll do one more slice off of this thing and see what it looks like. Let's raise this up. Let's see. Let's go all the way to 20. And let's raise the power to 80%. I never really run mine that fast. 80% will give us. We should be running about 24.5 milliamps, and it'll give us about 75 watts, 76 watts at the tube, and about 65 watts at the part, as opposed to 55. So we're going to put about 10 more watts of power into the piece. And it did go all the way through. It's got a very rough texture to it on that edge. The edge is not very smooth, but it's clean. So I ran it a little bit faster and a little bit hotter, but those are the numbers that I'm getting on that material. And you can see the material is just spotless. It's not doing any kind of damage to the surface either side. And you can see how close we got to that edge right there. I'm trying to get the camera where you can see it. Well, we're just having a lot of fun with this, so let's go ahead and set this up so that we can cut off another chunk. Try that right there. One thing about that particular setting, if you're cutting out a lot of parts, the parts won't fall through and get cut from the other side, but they easily come apart. It's got a little sawtooth edge, but it has absolutely no char to it at all. It's got a real roughness to it. Can you hear it? Drag my fingernail over it. Back away here from the machine. Here. Yeah, you can hear it pretty good. So anyway, I'm running out of the ability to support this thing. So let's cut a hole right there on that. I think I have a file that allows me to cut holes. Let's just see what it does. Now let's find the file. Alright, let's see. I got 83 files in here to go through. I know it's up here early on. Well, there's a 4mm hole. Let's take it right there and try a 4mm hole. So here we go, 4mm. Oops, we need to change our settings here. I had this for cutting some acrylic, so I better change this. We're still at 20, but we want to jack up our power here to 80%. So there we are, 20mm a second at 80% power. This is a 4mm hole. Come on, focus. That threw up a little bit of debris on the top and didn't actually go through. Well, it did kind of go through right there. It appears that the smoke from piercing the hole just went ahead and blew right out of it. You know I can punch that out with a little screwdriver. Kind of hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time. Yeah. So that's a 4mm hole in there. So let's see if I got another file here. Let's find it. It's a 3mm hole. That's a little bit small. Jack hole. Let's try that one. That's a little bigger. this down here. Alright, here we go. Wait, we got to check our speeds and everything. Let's see, where we at? Alright, we got to go to 20. At 80%. Alright, 20 millimeters a second, 80% power. Let me do a hole for a phone jack. See, I can pop it out there with my finger. Alrighty, so it looks like we got something here that works. Oops, I broke it. So that was already wiggling a little bit from shipping. So that's an interesting thing there. Well, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight to your machine. I'm sure that your machine is a considerable amount more powerful than mine. But just looking at the chart here, you know, the 80%. There we go. 80%, 24 milliamps, 65 watts of power going into it. So that's about what we got going on right there. I'm going to try something on this stuff just because I can. I'm going to load up one of my logos on here and see what it looks like. I know it'll probably burn. So let's try frame first. Alright, let's move it up there a little bit. Move it over. Alright, let's try this and see how it looks. This is 50 millimeters per second at only 15% power. And I'm just curious how this thing's going to work on engraving the surface. Almost done. Pretty interesting. I think I'd have to raise the power a little bit. So let's set that thing down in here again. Almost don't have enough room here. I'm going to raise the power on this particular graphic here from 15% to 25%, which is a big jump. We're still at 50 millimeters per second. Go. And here there's quite a bit of difference. This would be burning completely through that white surface into the MDF underneath. So it'll probably give me a lot better graphic. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. Got a little bit of sticky residue on there, but I can wipe it off. If I got a rag, I could probably clean it really, really good. Take a little alcohol and wipe on there, but you can see how that looks. This stuff would really engrave well. No lifted edges around it, and I can read that 6-point lettering pretty good. So the bottom one was cut at 50 millimeters a second at 25% power on my 60 water. So if we look at 25%, we'll be down in here somewhere. Well, 30 would be midway, so 25 would be about there. And this is where it ramps up really fast. So somewhere between 21 and 39. If I look at the chart data, I could probably get the exact number. But just to guess, I'm thinking maybe this is somewhere close to about 28 watts maybe of power going into it for this particular bottom one here. So anyway, that's a 20-minute video. I think you've seen enough, and these are really nice parts that you make here. So I know that you got it all worked out. You can go back and look at the video and get all the cuts and the drops. It seemed like the 80% gave the least amount of charring on the edges of the material, and the speed was all pretty consistent with about 25, maybe down to 20. So anyway, there's some information for you from my laser, and there's the chart on my 60-watt tube, so you can take a look at that and get an idea. You can freeze that on your frame, take a snapshot still and print it out or something like that, and you can kind of get an idea of what it did. So anyway, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to cut this material. I probably would not have realized that I could work with this stuff, but I can see some applications that I do currently. I make a few items. I'll take you on a little tour. There's some tube clamps. I cut some acrylic, but what I cut are actually parts, musical instrument parts and stuff like that. Over here I make a wine glass setup for 2 wine glasses. I also make one for 4 glasses. I didn't have an extra wine bottle, so I had to put my scotch bottle on there. This is one here for 3. And I make these phone racks, which are really handy. I make them out of acrylic as well as out of birch. I sell all kinds of little parts, pickup covers for guitar pickups. These are for some of the Chinese-made guitars. These are spacers for tailpieces. Some more pickup covers. These are different colored tailpiece that fit over the end of a guitar to hold the strings. So those are kind of handy. And I also engraved those flasks that you saw before. So I do with the RZ50 spray. So these are some of the very early ones that I did. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. This is kind of hot. She kind of changes from almost invisible to fairly dark if you move it around. So anyway, that's that. I got a whole box full of parts here, tools and stuff that I make and sell. So anyway, that's the big tour. Don't do much. Those are just some samples sitting there. So anyway, I hope that helps you. You let me know if I can do anything else for you, and I'll be happy to give you a hand. I don't know how this laser compares to yours, but I'm sure that you'll be able to see that with a decent amount of power, there's really not too awful much that we guys can't cut. I think what you got there cut out already is looking pretty damn good. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'll catch you later. All right, bye.